Hello and welcome to the webinar. We're talking about Salute to Women Behind the Wheel and what's ahead for this year's event. Today I am happy to introduce two members of our image team, and I'd like them to introduce themselves. Let us welcome Kaylee and Jody. Kaylee, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, so I'm a Legacy Image Team member with Women in Trucking. I'm also a CDL instructor at Agee Technical College in Statesboro, Georgia. I've been a driver for 10 years, and I love everything about the trucking industry.
All right, Jody.
Hi, I'm Jody. I'm with, I've been on the Legacy team for at least 10 years now, and I'm a CDL driver with JB Hunt Transport. I've been there for 27 and a half years. I have 2 million safe driving miles, and I'm loving every moment of being on the image team to spend all this time with other drivers.
Well, I am certainly lucky that I get to work directly with you both on a regular basis. And I'm very excited today to talk about the Salute to Women Behind the Wheel event that we host. This year will be March 27th at the Mid-America Trucking Show in Louisville, Kentucky, which takes place that full weekend. We'll be there with a booth space. We'll have our Whitney trailer there, and we'll have a lot of you all there to meet other folks and to share your experience and to really be celebrated that Friday from 4 to 6, which is March 27th. And that's why we're here today to talk about the Salute event. So I know you both have gone to several events. Jody, you'll probably have been to a few more than Kaylee. As you think about the Salute, what's your first impression really of that event?
I feel like it's just a huge party, just to celebrate female drivers and get to network with each other and get to know other drivers. You know, when you're out on the road, I mean, more so now than years ago, there's more women out there, but you don't get to actually stop and talk and discuss things. And that's what's nice about this.
I totally agree. You hear that a lot at Accelerate too. You just don't get to see people in person. And even though Women in Trucking staff, we're remote as well. So I love coming to Matt's and the Salute to see you all. And, you know, I don't know how many hugs you give during that weekend, but it's a couple. Kaylee, what's been your first impression?
I love it. So, and like you said, I have not been to near as many as Jody has. I've only been with Women in Trucking since 2020, but it's just this amazing experience. I mean, like Jody said, like you don't get to actually sit and talk with drivers anymore because the decade, the era of the diner has gone away, so to speak. So, you're not going into truck stops and sitting down at the counter and having a conversation with the driver next to you anymore. So getting to go to events like Salute, where you can actually sit and talk to people that have been out there for years, hear their story, and get to know them is pretty dang great.
And I will tell you, the last couple of years, I've only been to 3 of the Salutes. And last year, I think we had just over 200 people. So that's a pretty good group of mostly drivers to just connect with in all different ways. As you think through, do any of you have a memorable moment that really stands out to you from a Salute that you've attended? Or Jody, I can think of one in particular for you that maybe in the last couple of years or so, but I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Well, yeah, 2024, I was one of 3 drivers selected to be Women in Trucking's Driver of the Year. And that was pretty spectacular because the 3 of us that were up there, all 3 of us are on the image team. We've known each other for a very long time. And I don't think any one of us would have been able to say, well, I'm not going to be able to beat her. I'm not going to be able to beat her. And when they announced that all 3 of us had won together, it was pretty spectacular.
Agreed. In the audience, it was spectacular to watch. I mean, I knew ahead of time, but I'm acted surprised as well. Kaylee, have you had a memorable experience?
Oh, for sure. And this is always my favorite part of the Salute is, when we're all standing up there, all the drivers are standing, and then, if you've been driving for this amount of time, sit down, and it just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going until you get down to Miss Candy. It's just Miss Candy standing there, and she has these just decades of experiences and stories, and she's a wonderful person to talk to. And I was really proud of her and happy for her when she was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So that was a pretty awesome moment.
That is awesome. I will tell you, as I was reviewing, we've only been doing Driver of the Year since 2020. And Candy was actually the second driver of the year ever for women in trucking. So I was like, okay, I know her and her and her. So it's been a really fun experience for me too, just to get to know everybody at a little different level. So as you think of the impact of the event, as we talk about the importance of really encouraging drivers to want to attend, has attending this event influenced really your career or your perspective as a driver in a different way than being able to just celebrate with other people?
I'd say it's, even the women that come up to the booth and want to discuss how, whether they are a driver, whether they're thinking about becoming a driver, those things. And we invite them to come as well, just to get a feel for what may be your future. Talk to the women that are already doing it and get the advice of how they did it, whether it's something that could help them, whether or not. I love that part of it, that being able to help each other out.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel the same way about that. And it's just having that time to speak with all the people around you. It doesn't matter where they're at in their career or what level they're at it. Just be there.
I will tell you, having you all there, members of the Image team, as part of our booth and staff in the Whitney trailer, has been so impactful that we hear later too. And I can be there, but I don't have the same stories to tell. People really want to talk to you all and hear what you have to say, because a lot of times they are thinking about coming into trucking. And I think you guys are such great ambassadors, and I'm very proud to work with you. Okay, we're going to move into your role on the Image team. So I know, Jody, you've been on a little longer. Kaylee, you've been since 2020. That's 6 years. That's a pretty decent amount of time.
Pretty good bit of time, yeah.
It sounds like yesterday, but 6 years, yeah. So what motivated you to become a member of the Women in Trucking Image team?
For me, actually, I was asked by my company, JB Hunt. They did their own little, I don't know, media blitz of Women in Trucking Wednesday, and that's before. Like, I got to be honest, I'd not heard of the organization before the company brought it to my attention, and when they asked me, I was like, "Wow, sure, whatever." I've always been a firm believer in, if the company asks you to do something and you have the ability and the opportunity, the answer always has to be yes. That's how I feel about it. And when they asked, and I went to that very first, for me, was in 2016. I didn't even know if I had been picked for the Image team yet at that point, but I went, and it was just an amazing feeling. They introduced the new members, the old members. We get to hang out and be able to talk about the different things to come. And there's so much involved when you have the time, and just I have just found some of the best friends on the Image team. Kaylee being one of them. I feel a camaraderie and a closeness, because we all have different stories, but similar past leading up to where we're at.
Kaylee, what do you think?
So I came to the Image
Advisory.
team. Oh, wow. I guess our sound's a little wonky there. All right. So I came to the Image team by way of being a driver ambassador. So I was a driver ambassador from 21 until 23, 24, somewhere around in there. Somewhere around in there. So I was an Image team member by default. And like Jody said, I'd never really heard of women in trucking until I started working for Schneider National. I was with Schneider for 5 years and met Kelly Lynn, who was the first driver ambassador through Schneider, which got me involved in women in trucking. And I was like, this is an association. This is a group of women that I need to be involved with. I have to make myself part of these people. I want to get to know them. I want to learn about them. I want to be a part of that. That's how I got here.
And You mentioned your role as driver ambassador. What is that for folks who don't know what that is?
So the driver ambassador, or me at the time, was the person that took Whitney, our educational trailer, on tours and got to talk to all the lovely people that came to see the trailer.
You actually have her.
I do actually have her right now. I'm gearing up for a very long week ahead. I've got a touch truck event on the 14th here on our school campus, but leading up to that, I will be at 5 different high schools throughout the week leading up. I've got
Nice.
1 every day and 2 on one day. So yeah, I've got a busy schedule ahead of me.
Well, that's fantastic. And if folks on the call don't know who Whitney is, she is a semi-trailer that is decked out with a driving simulator and some quizzes and facts and other things about trucking. So that is an opportunity for folks, if they'd like to bring that to their areas, to contact me, and either Kaylee, Jody, we've all done it and set it up, and really been that presence to share careers in trucking with students and organizations and whoever wants to learn about them. We'll be there. So I know that's part of the image team role. What else do you do as a member of the image team? What else does that entail?
Oh gosh, we've done interviews. We've done, like she said with Whitney, even, yeah, you've got the simulator there, but people coming and going, if they're waiting in line, their questions and answers, and, what do you do? How long have you done it? And it's wonderful. It's even like I go to a Mother's Day event, a convoy for Make-A-Wish, and the kids come in and they want to try it. And it gets, you have the opportunity to share this with young people, when they're, those formative years when they're deciding what they want to do with their life. Not everything revolves around going to college.
Exactly. And that's part of my job here as a CDL instructor, is also being the recruiter for our program. So I really push technical education, even if it's not getting your CDL, because college is not for everyone.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I know both of you have done many interviews as a member of the image team, and you speak on stage and you're part of panels, and you really are the face of women in trucking. So I appreciate that. And I know, kind of as an aside, we are adding new members to the image team this year. We are reopening our nomination period probably within the next week or so. So if anyone knows someone who would make a good fit and want to join these ladies and this community, then keep an eye out for that information as well. So really going back to the salute, we really want to encourage folks to either send their drivers, or if it's in Louisville, Kentucky, if they're in that area, to encourage female CDL holders to attend. Say that 3 times fast. One of the things we like to do is everyone, female CDL holders, get a free red shirt. So that's always a good go-to. That's at our booth. Why else should drivers attend outside of what we've really talked about at the beginning?
That sense of community, that sense of sisterhood that you get from being in that room with you. And we have 200 people at the last salute. Mm-hmm. Being in the room with hundreds of other women that are just like you.
Agreed. And you get to sit down. They have, light snacks. But the big thing is when they open those doors and the music's playing and you just walk through that door and have people cheering you on. Mm-hmm. There is just no better feeling than that appreciation. And you get that because now your family members are there, sponsors are there. Just a wonderful feeling, and dancing into that room and sharing that time with other women.
Well, it's definitely huge. And hopefully, if folks are in the area, they will plan to attend. It's free. I don't know if we mentioned that, but it is a free event.
Salute is free.
I think many people's most favorite part is, what's your favorite part, Jody, of the salute outside of the community?
The chocolate fountain. You gotta love the chocolate fountain.
So if you do not like chocolate, you can skip that, but you must try it. You must try it. I know.
Blasphemy.
Yes.
And again, that event is Friday, March 27th at the Kentucky Expo Center
Yes.
during the Mid-America Trucking Show. So if you are there, stop at our booth, sign up, get your free red shirt. Nat, we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about some challenges and some triumphs as throughout your career and as a member of the Image team. As a woman in trucking, behind the wheel or behind the desk, what are some of the challenges that you've encountered, and how has really being a part of this community helped you overcome those or deal with them, if not overcome?
The work-life balance is probably one of the biggest challenges drivers of any gender faces.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to have a life at home and maintain it while still doing this job is rough sometimes. But having other women and other people that are facing the same challenges as you, that you can call on and be like, hey, I've got this going on. I need advice. What can I do? That's one of the best things that I have so many resources that I'm able to call on at any point in time. If I needed to call Jody in 30 minutes from now, from the time we end this call, I'm like, hey, this guy is really getting on my nerves. She's going to have advice for me.
Yep. And at least, to bounce back and forth, to have a discussion, to have a conversation. I've had people, call on me. I met a woman at the DMV one time when I was just waiting to, get my license renewed, and she was just going in to take her CDL test.
Ah.
So we had a conversation, and she actually called me after she took the test to let me know she passed. It's you just meet people,
Yes.
there, here and everywhere, and it's a wonderful thing. Like she said, it's a sisterhood. The things have changed over the years. When I first started driving trucks, that's 35 years ago. So the majority of women then were with their spouse. I was a solo driver. I was 23 years old, but it's just an amazing thing. Then I drove over the road. I run local now, which is nice too, because I have a little better, like she said, the challenges of work home life. I still go to bed at 7 o'clock at night, so there's no late nights. But I'm still home. But out on the road, it's a little more difficult. I mean, it's better now, I would say. You have FaceTime, you have, all these technology things to keep in touch. It's not the same, but it's a little better. But it's nice to have these people to discuss, to mentor you, to be mentored by. I have mentees and I have mentors.
Definitely.
Interesting. And I love that because we're always talking about on the Women in Trucking side, we have our Engage platform for our members, and there's a mentor piece to that. And I don't know how many people I've talked to that say, ooh, I can't be a mentor, even though they have 35 years of experience and have done all of these different things, like, oh, no, not me. So I think it is important. You can be both. And I think if you're willing to share, like you both, I think you're both fantastic mentors to people.
People come out of school, like they're getting trained by Kaylee, right? They're going to come out of school, something new, some new information, some new law, some new that I hadn't heard, some new counting technique that they use or measuring technique. These are all things that we share, as older drivers that have been at it longer share some things, and the newer drivers have just as much thing to share information wise that, okay, I didn't know that. Okay, well, great.
You should always be willing to learn something. Always.
Yes.
My goodness, especially in trucking. I was just on a webinar today and they talked about new stuff happening next month. I was like, how do people even,
how do you keep up with it?
Right. And the biggest thing is right now, at least for me and what I do, is the technology. It changes every day.
Yes.
We've got an app for that. We've got an app for this. The log is electronic now. It's not paper, which I kind of like that. Less work.
Yes.
But all these different things coming together and being able to ask these questions, even on our Facebook page that we have for
Mhm.
women in trucking,
Mhm.
going on Engage, you have somebody you can reach out to if you have a question, or if okay, people even sharing weather
Yes.
on the Facebook
Weather
page,
updates. Mhm.
which we had such horrible weather this winter all across, the Northeast, even the South got snow.
Mhm.
Yes.
I mean, it was crazy. But having that, people sharing that information on restrictions and things, you just never had that before. And
Mhm.
now being able to discuss it with other women that
Mhm.
you may be a little more comfortable having those conversations with.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I think it's in the delivery. People accept information in different ways. So depending on the messenger, if someone's more
Yep.
comfortable with talking to another woman, why not be that person? Like you
Right.
said. Actually, somebody posted, I don't know if it was in our Facebook group or another Facebook group, asking if there were schools that kind of focus on or have female trainers or something like that. So there was a conversation just today with folks
Hmm.
asking about that as they think through what those little bits and pieces are as they enter the industry.
Well, that's just it. Some women are uncomfortable in
Mm-hmm.
small spaces with
Sure.
men,
With men.
and you don't get any smaller than the
Being
cab
a
of a
truck.
truck. Even a day cab, like I run a day cab, so it's just me and another seat. There isn't even a bunk in the back. That's it.
Mhm.
So, and some women don't even feel comfortable. You're not even talking about sleeping in the truck, and they're
Mm-hmm.
still just not comfortable with how close you are together in a truck.
Mhm.
It's small. So it's nice to have somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I got into training as early as I did in my career, because
Yeah.
I knew that while I was comfortable with my trainer being a male, I knew many other women would not be, and that
Yep.
I needed to get to the point in my own skills and my own, comfort level with driving and certifications, that I could be that safe haven for someone that was not comfortable in the same
Same
situation
here.
as me.
Yep. Same here. I had a male trainer too that I didn't have a problem with. He was great.
Yes.
We didn't have any issues. But once
No.
I was a trainer, you meet other women that aren't that comfortable with it. And I get it. A
Right.
stranger, a stranger to begin with. Now
Is
it's a stranger of the opposite sex. Now it's
Right.
really for some people it's an issue.
Absolutely. And I think I
And they
love to
need
hear
to know it's okay for it
it
to be an
is.
issue.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I think many of our image team members are trainers or have been in some
Yes.
capacity. So I think it's so important and a really great way to show that companies are at least trying to focus on being able
Yes.
to provide that. I know it's difficult, but it's happening, and hopefully
Yep.
it continues to happen with more companies. So as you think of kind of your experience with training and driving and image team and salute and all the things, is there a specific success story or achievement that you're exceptionally proud of?
Well, for me, it's my 2 million. That 2 million safe miles was huge for me. And the thing is, this was what was interesting about it. This celebration, JB Hunt has a celebration. They bring all their 2 million plus drivers to Arkansas for this huge celebration. And I mean, huge. The boyfriend went with, and he said it was like hanging out with a rock star. Um, but it fell just a week or two after winning Driver of the Year in
Yeah,
2024. So it was that on top. So those two things together it made 2024 a banner year for me.
absolutely. How long did it take you to get to 2 million miles?
So it was 22 years, something like
22.
that. As a local driver, it's a little tougher
Yeah, that is
because
true.
you're running those miles like they run over the road.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was something like that, 22, 23. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the stick with itness. I think that's a saying.
Yeah. Well, and
Consistent.
that's it. And it's to come to work every day prepared to drive safely.
Yes.
Not just, it's okay. I check the weather every day. I inspect my truck every day. It's not just one thing. It's all those things combined, together to make it a safe day. And it's got to be day by day. You can't say, "Oh, I'm going to be safe on Friday," and it's Tuesday or Wednesday. You
Right.
Every day.
Friday morning, start fresh. It's going to be a safe day.
Okay. I love that. Kaylee, is there anything you're particularly proud of?
I don't think I could name one event in my career in particular that I'm proud of. Just the career itself overall, I guess you could say. Just coming from the background that I had to the point in my life where I'm at now, I'm proud of myself for doing that.
Absolutely. That's a good one.
I'd like to say something. I'm proud of Kaylee because she really embodies a female trucker as far as she gets out there and she is diligent with Whitney. I mean, there's no better representative in Whitney than Kaylee.
I may have to agree. I will tell you, Kaylee, just today, someone told me because you posted that you have Whitney, and you posted the picture of you with your arms crossed, and you said she needs to be on Whitney. Can you change out the Whitney outside?
It's already pretty close.
Yeah.
It's already pretty dang close.
And she needs to be the face. I'm like, well, yes, I agree.
Very much is.
I
You're close. Okay, so what advice would you give to women who are considering a career in trucking but might feel hesitant?
I always say the same thing. I have the same answer always. Research, research, research.
Yes.
Know what it is you want to do, what type of truck you want to drive, whether it be over the road, local. It's not the same. Now you can go on Google. Sorry. I was going to say go to the library, but you don't have to do that anymore. That's what I did. I had to go to the library. But do your research. It's got to be, you need to know what it is you truly want to do before you can. And then once you know what you want to do, then you can reach out to organizations or associations like ours and get the information from other people doing those jobs. Because somewhere in women in trucking, there's somebody doing exactly the job that you want to do, whether it be local, over the road, regional, flatbed, tanker, whatever the case may be. Even school bus drivers, we've got members that are out there just doing everything.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
I had a lady come by just today, actually, an older lady that had seen job postings for a trucking company. Does not have her CDL, didn't know what she needed to do to go about doing that. She had questions, so she came by our school, and we are in between classes right now, so I had plenty of time to sit with her and go out and look at the trucks and ride her around our facility so that she could see, how they moved and if it was something that she might actually want to do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great advice too, because it's not a desk job. There's a lot of different variables that go into driving, especially. The industry alone is not normal. I feel not in a bad way, but it's not. And I don't think whatever role you have,
it's not your typical, right? It's not your typical.
Mm-hmm.
It's not typical. So I think asking those questions, finding a driver, hopping on the Facebook page, asking someone who's doing it, or call a company. Say, hey, a lot of the advice I see is figure out what you want to do. Like you said, Jody, do you want to be local, or are you okay being over the road for X number of time until you get your footing? So those are really important questions to ask. So you don't want to spend your time and then get stuck, being in a place that you don't like.
One of the first questions I ask my students is, how long can the people at home miss you?
Ooh, I like that question.
How long can they miss you? And then that's what you need to base how you're looking for jobs off of.
Well, that's cool.
That is a good question. Randomly, it makes me think of the show Survivor. People are they get off of 29 days and they're dying because they haven't seen their people for 29 days. But that can be a schedule.
Yeah.
right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
some schedules, I don't know if it says regular anymore, or around for months at a time, or
It's
maybe it
better
is.
now. Some drivers
Yeah.
still stay out for very extended amounts of time, which I personally do not like just from a mental health standpoint. I don't think
Right.
that's good for you. But schedules for truck drivers have changed drastically over the last several years.
Yep.
I agree with you. I came before Women in Trucking. I worked for a trucking company, and I know even then they were trying to figure out, okay, we have to come up with other schedules because we don't have the folks that want what we have. So they developed other ways to offer things to the drivers to get them stay and actually stay and start. That's the end goal, right? Is
Yeah,
get drivers.
longevity.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's what we have.
So how?
I mean, we have.
Oh,
Go ahead. We have where I'm at. We have shifts that start like every hour. So and on average, it's 10 to 12 hours, right? But you could start anywhere, and they a lot. They do a lot of slip. They do slip seat, so you'll have two people sharing a truck, so that
mhm.
one works from 2 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, and so on and so forth, and the next. So
Okay.
it's pretty good. You have the choices.
Yes,
Good.
the options are endless.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that other companies are doing that too. So back to Salute, kind of advice. How can some new drivers really make the most of events like the Salute, or Whitney events, or Accelerate, which is our annual conference, if they're able to attend? What's the way that new drivers could get the most out of things like this?
I would say just coming and talking to our image team or any of the drivers that attend our events because of their wealth of knowledge. What better place to learn about the industry that you're working in or want to be a part of than talking to the people that are already there?
Absolutely agree. Like I said before, even the booth. I mean, we spend all day at that booth just having conversations.
Mm-hmm.
People walk up. Of course, they walk up because they think they're going to get a free T-shirt. But and that's a good way to bring them in.
Yeah.
But for those that aren't yet CDL holders, it gives them the opportunity then to maybe ask those questions. Oh, well, how do I get one of those T-shirts? Well, here you go. You start
Mhm.
driving a truck, get your CDL, come back, I'll give you a
Mm-hmm.
T-shirt.
Come back next year when you've got your
Yeah, there you
CDL.
go. Come back next year, and then you can, sign that picture if you're at the
Right.
salute, which is the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thriller right
Yes,
now.
and we have a big team picture that we do every year at the end of the Salute, with everyone, all the female CDL holders are wearing their red T-shirts. So definitely come get yours before the event so you can be part of the picture. And also this year we got a new backdrop for our booth, and it is Kaylee who is most of the backdrop. So miles away. If she's not there, you can still get your picture with her.
Yeah, my face is everywhere.
There you go. I know that feeling.
So when it comes to the future of trucking, or women in trucking in particular, are there any changes or advancements that you've noticed just in the industry as a whole regarding the representation of women in all roles, drivers in particular?
They do advertise now. I mean,
Yeah,
trucking companies will specifically target
women.
female
Yes,
drivers.
yes.
But it was only 10 years ago when you talk about the face. Surprise, surprise.
Mhm.
I get a phone call one day saying, "Hey, I just saw a billboard with you on it." I'm like, "Wait, what?" So yeah, they took my light.
Yes.
I did an interview and they had my picture and they put it up on a billboard to hire female drivers. So they're doing a little better job. They're
Okay.
targeting and same thing with recruiting. They're looking for women drivers.
Yes, I recently did a presentation about how female truck drivers are more safe than male drivers, and it is statistically true. Female truck drivers are way more safe on the roads than male drivers are. So companies want to hire female drivers.
Yep.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And I think it helps to see your faces, though. I mean, really, on billboards and in flyers and all the places. I was at a truck show 2 weeks ago in Florida, and
Mm-hmm.
the backdrop alone were like, here. People came to me. They're like, here, tell me about women in trucking. They didn't know who we were, but the name alone and the backdrop were just like, tell me more so I can be part of this community. And I think the more we can do things like that, the more impactful it will be, and people will think they can see themselves in
Yes.
trucking. And
Yeah.
I think that makes a big difference.
Having representation,
Mhm.
visual representation of females in the trucking industry is what draws us in
Mhm.
every time.
I think it's huge.
I think when they show
one
up
other-
at the booth, and they don't realize, they think, oh, this is some office lady, whatever. And then when they
Mhm.
talk to us and they, oh, wait, you're a driver?
Mhm.
You're a driver. I am. And they
Yes.
want to hear all about it.
I love when I'm at events like that, and I have because male allies are important to us too. But I've had like grandpas and dads say, "I got to bring my granddaughter over. I got to bring my wife over. You got to tell her. You got to tell her to get her CDL. I want her to come out with me, or we're going to start a company together." And those are the best conversations because these women come over and they're like, "I don't know." And
Yeah. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. Yes, you can.
yes, you
Yeah,
can.
absolutely, you can.
Here are these
They
ladies.
joke.
And
Yeah.
share.
They joke. Oh, I can't even back my car. Yes, you can. They just assume that the truck is so big. It's so big. Listen, once you get behind the wheel, it comes down to size a little bit. At least, once you're behind that wheel, it does not. It does
It
not
doesn't seem
seem
as big as it is.
Nope. Not at all.
And that's the lady I
Well,
talked
hopefully
about
we'll
that
have
came by today. That's how she felt as well. She actually sitting down in the truck. She's like, oh, okay, this isn't as bad as I was picturing it.
Exactly.
So did she leave feeling uplifted or like ready to enroll?
She did. And I invited her back for our toucher truck. I was like, come back next Saturday. You can drive the simulator. You can actually experience driving with that. And that might help you decide even more.
I love that. So what do you hope to see in the future for women in this industry?
Of course, we all want to see more women in the industry, and there will be, as because that's a trending thing. We're going, as if the trend continues, we're going to have more women in the industry. I like seeing the different lives of women in the industry. So it's not single young females. It's moms, it's grandmothers. It's women with families out there as well. It is totally 100% possible to have a family and be a truck driver.
Yep. I'm proof.
Yes.
You're proof.
I'm proof.
Yep, absolutely.
And what do you want to see in the future, Jody?
Like we've already discussed, more women for sure. But, the confidence. I want to see that they feel that confidence that they can do what they want. They can be independent if need be. Because how many years is it? Oh, well, you have to do this in order to do that. No. You
That's
can
true.
own. You can have your own home. You can buy your own cars. You can do all these things with or without. It's I always taught my kids, you want to know how to care for yourself and take care of your own things so
Yes.
that when you do find someone, it's because you want to be there, not because you need to be there.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
I had one of those whip sounds. I was like, yes. All right. So to kind of wrap up, I know we talked about Salute. Again, a reminder that is Friday, March 27th at 4 o'clock. We will have a booth and our Whitney trailer at the Mid-America Trucking Show that Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Stop out to the booth anytime. Say hello to these ladies. And to wrap up, what message do you really want to leave with the folks watching today about the importance of supporting women in trucking?
We need to stick together.
Absolutely.
Be there for each other. Build each other up. In a world where people will do so many things to tear you down, be there for each other. Come
Exactly.
out, show your support for each other.
Be the change that you want to see.
Yep.
You guys are like, I mean, I just enjoy working with you both so much. And so salute, be the change, support each other. And also, again, we are going to be accepting more nominations for the next class of Image Team members to join Kaylee and Jody and a handful of other wonderful women that were chosen to represent women in trucking and act really as that voice of women behind the wheel. You want to keep an eye out on our social media and some emails coming out looking for those nominations. And any other closing words you ladies would like to add?
Don't forget the chocolate fountain.
Don't forget to
Be ready to party.
Big party.
Big party. Come join us March 27th. That's Friday from 4 to 6. It's on the second floor of the Expo Center. And thank you both for joining me today. We will see you in a couple weeks.
See you there.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.